A very good afternoon to you from the sports desk. Let's start here. The Springboks have had their captain's run ahead of tomorrow's test against England at Twickenham. Newzroom Afrika sport editor Vaylen Kirtley is in the UK and joins us live. Now, Vaylen, as we continue building up to this big match tomorrow, you spoke about the weather yesterday. What is it looking like, leading up to the match tomorrow?
Thank you very much, Quina. A very good afternoon to you. It is very cold in England. You'll note that they're going into winter at the moment. So even when the players were getting ready for the captain's run and they were taking off their shirts to actually put on their training kit, you could hear some grumbling from the guys just to say how cold it was before they ran onto the field. So it is going to be cold. They're expecting a little bit of wet weather, so 50% chance of weather. But we also know that Rassie Erasmus is expecting a lot be made of the kicking game, and if it gets wet, there is going to be a large reliance on the kicking game and just how good the Boks are, not only their kicking game but also underneath the high ball.
Now with that said, what have we seen specifically from the captain's run and the expectation from Rassie Erasmus?
Well, Gwenna, we saw the guys that have got a bit of a boot on them, making sure that they can get some long kicks in, high kicks in. Fassi has been given a starter at a fullback. This is a youngster who made his debut for the Springboks back in 2021. He played a total of 3 matches before he then was unable to play, and he then was left out in the wilderness for 2 years, and he was told to go and work on a couple of things. That he duly did, and now that he's made his return to Springbok setup, he's been absolutely brilliant. 5 test matches played against the likes of Portugal, Argentina, New Zealand, and he's delivered in each and every single one of them. This test against England at Twickenham is going to be a very good test of his skill, and a lot is expected of him. Also, I think from Coach Rassie Erasmus, he's wanting to see just how well he does in a game like this. He's being groomed to be one of the options after Vaylen Kirtley, and there's a lot of competition at that fullback. Damien Willems, unfortunately, out injured for the Castle-Lager outgoing tour, so he unfortunately is not here. But competition is something that keeps the Springboks all fighting for their places, and it's something that the captain, Siya Kolisi, spoke about today, that they don't even need extra motivation or to think about what kind of motivation may come from playing a certain opponent with the rivalry that we see with England, because there's so much competition just within the Springbok setup that they are motivated to perform each and every single day, or each and every single test, each and every single opportunity, because you're never assured of your play in the team. And we've seen just how much Rassie Erasmus has actually shaken up the squad throughout this year as he starts to squad depth for the next Rugby World Cup in 2027 in Australia.
So, I mean, you speak about the Siya Kolisi and the few changes that Coach Rassie Erasmus has made. I want to touch a little bit on the issue of the rivalry. We know that the rivalry between England and South Africa is quite a big one. We know what happened the last time we met them in a Rugby World Cup match and the drama that came up with it. What are the fans generally saying? The mood, especially the English fans, knowing that the world champions are coming to their ground and to try and beat them again, as it were.
Quina, I apologize. I didn't get that last question of yours. We just had the Springbok bus pull up, the guys returning from another afternoon training session. What I did capture, however, is the rivalry between England and South Africa. And it certainly is a rivalry for the storybooks, so with South Africa often coming up against England in 2 Rugby World Cup finals and being able to beat them. But Twickenham is not an easy ground to go to and to be victorious at. It's something that the coach did speak about, to say that, they have lost a number of times, over the last 6 matches between these 2 teams. It's been 3-3. 3 wins and 3 defeats. And this test match tomorrow is the 100th time that South Africa will be playing on English and Irish soil, on British soil, and they've lost more times, 11 times, to England. So it is a rivalry that we've seen not only at the World Cup stage, we've also seen in a number of fantastic test matches. But he also tries to say that we don't be talking too much about the rivalry. We want to go out there and, every team that we play against, it is something that we want to do our best at. We don't want to make too much of the rivalry, but I wonder if that was a little bit of my games, because Siya Kolisi today said every time you run out, it is a little bit of a personal thing, because you've got a guy that's wanting to knock you out and run into you with the most amount of strength that he can muster. So it always is a personal thing when you go into a test match against another team. So yes, there is a very strong rivalry with a lot of history that, when it comes to South Africa on British soil, dates back to 1906.
Are we seeing that filtering through? Was my question. From the fans' perspective, I mean, we know that the English fans can be quite rowdy, as it were, but beyond rowdy, quite passionate about their team. Are we seeing that as we build up to the game tomorrow, the fans on the streets? Are we seeing that excitement ahead of the world champs coming to play, at their home ground?
Yeah, well, Quina, there certainly is a lot of excitement, but you'll know London, it's some say it's a home away from home for many South Africans. There's a lot of South Africans that have a base here in England, so we're expecting there to be a lot of fans in the Twickenham Stadium tomorrow. That being said, however, it's something that Coach Mzondile Stick mentioned in the press conference earlier today, that, it's going to different places, you get a little bit of a different energy, but coming to Twickenham, you really do feel it. You feel that English crowd getting behind the English team. And this is an English team that have come so close against New Zealand and just losing it at the death, coming just short against Australia, losing to them. And now they're up against the world champions. And if you ever want to set a statement, and if you ever want to show that, you are doing things right, as the coach of England wants his fans to believe that he is doing something right, you want to actually get one up on the world champions, the Springboks. So the assistant coach Mzondile Stick and the captain Siya Kolisi know this all too well, that the English fans are expecting an England team to come out and be at their very best at the biggest rugby stadium in the world, Twickenham.
As we wind down the conversation, Vaylen, and I mean, what are we expecting then from the home side? In terms of their preparations, the squad is out, but what is their mood, if you have been able to gauge anything from their side leading to this game tomorrow?
Well, they're a team that are hurting. They're a team that doesn't want to give too much away. Some of the English media that went through to Penny Hill, which is where the English are training, said that they didn't get too much visuals, just a lot of team talking, a lot of huddling, not too much visuals of what they're actually planning. So they're keeping their cards very close to their chest as to what their plan is for the world champions. But we know there was not a lot expected of England in the semi-final at the Rugby World Cup. Many people sort of said, well, England had the easier side of the draw. South Africa has been groomed through all the tough matches, but England came and they were incredibly strong. They've read South Africa's game well. Steve Borthwick is the rugby man. He's very intelligent. So he's created a game plan specifically for the Springboks. I mean, they've got a fantastic young fly half, Marcus Smith, who's making global headlines, really exciting, dynamic player. And because of their 2 close losses in the autumn series, they'll be wanting to really do something. And like I said, you wanting to show against the world champions just how good you can be, and just what all the good things that you are doing to build for the future. So I think that the fans here in England are expecting a fantastic performance from their team. And from the English team, they're keeping their cards close to their chest. But they've named a full-strength squad, a squad that only shows 4 changes to the one that went down to Australia. So it shows you that Steve Borthwick has got faith in his game plan. He's got faith in the players that have done the business. But now it's just about getting it all together and not letting it go in that final quarter, which is something that we saw from the English in the New Zealand match as well as the Australian Test match.
Vaylen, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for keeping us up to speed. Sport editor Vaylen Kirtley in London, in Twickenham to be more specific, ahead of that encounter.